I just want to add a word to this one. And we already got past that alphabet letter, which is A for androgynous. Would you say that androgyny is also a part of the trans community or the LGBT community?
I think it's an idea of gender nonconformity, which could be seen as part of because transgender is kind of like an umbrella spectrum. So it's anything outside of like the binary of the idea of a man and a woman doing things in the way a man and woman do. You know what I mean? In a very, like, again, just very general way. And so an androgynous person could technically fall under a transgender umbrella, most likely wouldn't identify as trans. They may not even identify as gender fluid or even outside of being different from their sex, but other people might perceive them if they meet them in that one moment or that one time, that sort of thing. So.
Okay. So I'm sorry for going outside of the alphabet, but the Loyola definition of fluid or fluidity is generally with another term attached, like gender fluid or fluid sexuality. Fluidity, described an identity that is fluctuating, mix the options available.
Yeah, so the idea is sexuality can kind of go that way too, in the sense of who you're having sex with, who you're attracted to. So it's not just about your gender expression.
So that would be gender fluid. Like, I'm gonna go with this person tonight, and it's
gender fluid.
Person.
Gender fluid is typically, I mean, it could be gender and sex, or it could be gender or sex. But when you talked about fluid sexuality, it's more about sexuality than gender. And I think that's one thing that a lot of times people who are not familiar with transness, or even just LGBTQ-ness, I think we've talked about it before, how like being gay or being trans is just kind of thought of to be the same thing. However, being gay is sexuality, and being trans is a gender. And so they are different things. So you have gay trans people, or you have bisexual trans people, or you have heterosexual, you know what I mean? So
come on, Dr. Bonnie Violet.
I don't know about doctor, but I am a reverend. So
yes, Reverend. Okay. All right. FTM/MTS, which means female to male and male to female. What is that?
It's just basically a way to identify being transgender, in kind of the binary sense of somebody who was assigned male at birth, T for two, F for female, who now lives as a female, or somebody who was assigned female at birth who now lives as a man.
Does that, and I want to make sure it's not in here before I say it. It's not in here. So does that the term that used to translate as she-male, that everybody hates? It's such a wicked, is that like a slanderous word for trans, she-male?
Yeah, nowadays they might not use that term. Most people, like, we might use that within our own community, but it's definitely not something that people outside of our community would want to refer to as it's definitely thought of being more of a derogatory term or a slur to some degree. And so like even RuPaul doesn't say she-male. She used to say you got she-male, as in like male. And so they went ahead and she was playing with that idea of she-male, because, you know, a lot of the times we try to take back those words that have been harmful for us, but then, you know, but then we've come to see things differently. And so she doesn't even use that term no longer either.
That's being culturally aware, huh?
I think it's just being a little bit,
we're educating people to be culturally aware of these things, huh?
I think we're just coming to understand things a little bit more and have words for things that have always been in existence. We're just, I think, calling it out a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, being more specific, I think.
All right. Well, Loyola describes FTM, MTF, or male to male, or male to female, as a person who has undergone medical treatments to change their biological sex. So that's kind of
I think that's a great distinction that I didn't speak directly to. Yeah.
And I didn't, and I had to turn the page when you said that. Female to male, or male to, oftentimes to align with their gender identity. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the sex reassignment. Did I read that right?
Yeah.
Treatments, medical treatment. Yeah.